Imagine a newsletter that writes itself, is personalized for each subscriber, optimized for clicks, and always on schedule. That's the power of AI. That's what you can do with an AI-driven newsletter agent. And today I'm going to show you how to do this and how to set it up for yourself. It's actually super simple. We will do this with 4 tools. We will use Google Sheets for our AI content plan. We'll use N8N, the best automation tool and API connector out there. We will use Mautic, in my opinion, the best marketing automation tool and newsletter tool, and an LLM. In my case, I will use OpenAI GPT. So yeah, let's go. So we will have a content plan in step 1. We will create a design in step 2. We'll create an AI agent in step 3. We'll test it and then we'll go live. So it's actually super simple. I will show you the finished workflow, which will look like this. So it's really, really nice. We'll have a trigger. In this case, for testing, we'll just use the chat trigger here in N8N. If you don't have N8N, we have tutorials on how to set it up for yourself on your own VPS here on this channel. So use the tutorial to set it up, or get N8N in the cloud from their SaaS. If you are going to use their SaaS, I'm very happy if you use our link in the description, and then we'll get some affiliate commissions. So think about doing this. So we'll use the chat trigger first to trigger the whole agent. Then we'll use the agent with our LLM with 4 different tools and with an output parser, which is very important in order to push the newsletter then to Mautic. It doesn't matter if you push it to Mautic or MailChimp or ActiveCampaign or HubSpot or whatever. You'll need to have an output parser in order that it every time gives you the correct format so you can use it somewhere else as well. Of course, there are 1,000 versions how you could do this. So if you are into N8N, go for it. Just take this as an example and then build from there. Okay, let's do this. So I will just reorganize this here in order for me to see what's going on and what I'm doing. So I'll have a new workflow here in N8N. If you never used N8N before, maybe this is a little bit difficult tutorial, but hey, let's see, stick to it and you'll learn. So in N8N, you can create like a new workflow here, and then you'll get to this blank canvas. Then we need our content plan. So our content plan is here. I have it somewhere for the tutorial as well. So this is going to be the content plan for our brand, for Automate This. So I'll just show it to you with this one. So we will have status, we'll have send date, we'll have the category, we'll have the topic, and we'll have some input. So these 5 columns are important. Make sure that you have these names at the top of the columns in order to have a header. So our workflow tool is going to do the correct thing afterward, and find the topic, find the next thing which is in pipeline. So you don't need to have these smart drop-down thingies. You can just have text in here as well and mess up everything like I do. Okay, so yeah, this one is actually in draft already. Okay, so this is necessary. So you need to have like categories. That's only in order for the LLM or for the agent to understand what's the category compared with the topic compared with the input is going to give the agent context about what the newsletter should be written. So you need this in order to create a briefing for your agent. So yeah, that's an important step, or at least I like to think that's an important step. I think it's the same thing. Building an agent is actually the same thing like briefing an employee, or training an employee, or briefing a freelancer on how to do certain things for you. So if you build an agent, think about it like this. You need some kind of documentation. You cannot just tell them, write a newsletter. Because about what and how and what are the guidelines, blah, 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 all this stuff. So this is actually important. So this is our AI content plan. So go to Google Sheets or use Excel if you have Microsoft 365. Use something what you can, or Open Office. You can have something, you need something in the cloud in order to connect it to our workflow in n8n. So I like to use Google Sheets. It's very, very simple and it's cheap. And then we need Mautic. So Mautic in my case is my tool of choice for sending emails and building marketing automations. If you want to use Mautic, we have several tutorials on how to install it for yourself on this channel. Or you can use Mautic fully managed by Hardmode.io. So Hardmode.io is one brand, I own two. We give you Mautic in order to use it out of the box without managing your own email deliverability and so on. So you can use this as well. Links in the description. So yes, these are the tools we're going to use. And of course, an API LLM. So if you don't know, an LLM is like ChatGPT is an LLM. So that's the short version of it. I think if you're looking for AI agents, you already know this. So we don't use the ChatGPT account. We use the API account. So go to platform.openai.com and build your API keys. So in order to use all this stuff, you can have here your credentials and build your credentials in order that n8n can use them and then use these tools. So, but let's start and let's just build this stuff. So let's say, okay, on chat message is our trigger. So this is the number one. So we need the trigger. And then let's just call this here AI newsletter agent tutorial. Okay, that's nice. So, no. Create tag tutorial, yes. Let's do this. Okay, so what happens next? If you click here, this opens, or if you click plus, this opens as well. So let's have advanced AI. And in here, we use the AI agent. And we'll use a tools agent, and the connected chat trigger node is actually the source prompt for us. So you can have different other triggers. We're going to automate it afterwards with cron so that it runs once a week, every Thursday, and creates this draft in Mautic. And then I get a prompt. In my case, of course, I get a prompt, can take a look at it. If you like it, if I like it, I can just directly send it. Or if I don't like it, I can rework a little bit. So that's the idea here. Okay, so we use the tools agent here, and we are going to require a specific output format. This is actually something super, or at least in the beginning, it was super complicated for me. But without that, it doesn't work. I tried to use an HTTP request tool directly as a tool for the agent, and it didn't work. It always messed up the code. It always made something that the API call to Mautic, in my case, never was quite right. So the HTML was broken, and it didn't really work. So yeah, that's the reason why I use an output parser. So I click here, require specific output format. And of course, I want to give it a system message. So this is super important as well, because in the system message, you tell it basically the same thing you would tell a ghostwriter, for example. You are the ghostwriter for me, Alex Hammerschmidt. I'm the founder of Automate This and Hardmode.io, and I build marketing automation systems, AI first, for e-commerce businesses. So this would be some kind of prompt that the agent understands, this is the context I'm writing for. I don't write out of my own voice, I write in the voice of Alex Hammerschmidt. So you need to create and play around with these prompts. I will show you my prompt afterwards. But first, I will guide you through the different steps. So this is basically our agent. And here we have 4 inputs. It looks maybe a little bit intimidating in the beginning, but it's actually super simple. So each agent, this is like the connector. It's not the brain, it's the connector. And the connector has some system messages like, you are doing this and this. So we need to connect it to an LLM, so like to an actual artificial intelligence. So let's connect it with an OpenAI chat model. In my case, I have credentials already. So if you don't have credentials, you can just say create new credentials. And if you don't know how to create credentials, so you can get in here, and then you click here on Docs. If this is not enough, you can click here on Docs in order to have a tutorial on how to build these credentials. So you need them in order to use it. So in my case, let's go with GPT-4o Mini. That's fine. So this is our model. As soon as it's connected, the triangle is gone. That's the one thing. Then we need a memory because the AI agent needs the possibility to store some information before it goes to the next message. And also you want that the chat is working, like, thanks for the newsletter, but please write only with emojis. So in order to do that, and in order to have a communication with your agent, you need to give it some memory, because otherwise it can't remember what was going on before, or it can't use what was going on before. So we'll just give it a window buffer memory. That's the easiest, and it's super simple. And we'll leave the context length to 5. So that's the last 5 interactions we had with the model. So that's these 2 things. Number 1, number 2. You can rename that, but it's not necessary. And then we'll have, in my case, we'll have 4 different tools. So the first tool we're going to build is a Google Sheets tool. And here, the same thing, you need credentials. So create new credentials. And if you don't know how to do this, you can click here, open Docs, and it guides you through how to do this. Once you have set up this, it's actually super nice. So in my case, I'll just take a look. This is the right stuff. Yes, so it's a sheet within a document, and we want to get the rows, and we are going to get it from which document? AI content plan. And we're going to use the sheet number 1, because right now there is only one sheet. And then we're going to use a filter, because it's not necessary. I don't have a filter here. Okay, so let's leave it like this. Now, let's put in a filter, because it's actually a good idea. And here I will say status is pipeline. Just to make sure. Let's go back here. Status is pipeline. It's written in small case, so it's pipeline. So the column must have this value to be matched. And I only want to return the first matching row only. So return only first matching row, because then I only get the first row which fits, which would be here, row number 8. So this is the next newsletter we are going to write. Yeah. Okay, so I have this. That's actually cool. So my agent already understands a little bit of, or already has some context. So let's call this get content plan. Okay, rename that. Nice. So we have the get content plan tool. Then we need different other tools. So in my case, I want to build a newsletter which takes the last 5 blog posts from my blog, automatethis.pro. I want to get the last 5 YouTube videos from my YouTube channel, Automate This. I want to get the last 5 episodes, or the last, 5 episodes of Spotify and my Spotify podcast. So in order to do that, and you can of course have endless tools which are doing this basically, and which give the agent the ability to read stuff from your blog. So for the sake of the tutorial and to make it not that complicated, I will just use the blog posts because it's the easiest. So in order to get the blog posts, I will have a n8n workflow tool. So of course I could build an HTTP request to my blog, but it's actually super simple to use a workflow tool. So I will show you how to do this. So that's called get blog posts. Here, use this tool to get the last, I don't know, blog posts for context, or to get the last blog posts from our blog. Okay, yes. Then we're going to connect the workflow. So let's build the workflow first. Let's save this here and then click here, new workflow. And here we say tutorial blog posts, get blog posts. So, and then we'll have a trigger manually. And here we're going to have WordPress. I'm going to use WordPress. Okay, that's nice. Okay, so I will have this, and then WordPress, and then I say get many posts. With WordPress, it's the same thing. You need to create new credentials, and then you can connect here and go from here. So the resource, what we are looking for is posts. Of course, you can have posts. You can have the filter afterwards for post types like products in order to get the best products or the newest products. Then you can filter for products with special offers and so on, because it makes sense for a store. It totally makes sense to show only the special offers for this week, for example. So the newsletter agent will fetch the special offers and then use them on the newsletter, which is so nice. It's actually amazing how powerful this is. So you have post, get many, limit to 5. Okay, that's fine. I don't want to do more. I'll just test this here. So yes, I have my 5 post types here. That's fine. Why business must embrace AI today? Yes. Okay, that's nice. Everything here. So we have this blog post tool. Then we'll save it and go back to our overview, AI newsletter agent tutorial. And then have this tool here. And let's call it get blog posts. Yes, rename that. And here in the database, we can just say tutorial. Tutorial get blog posts. That's what we want. Yes. So now our agent is actually super smart already. It has a system prompt, which we will refine afterwards. It has the content plan. It has the get blog posts tool, so it can do a lot of stuff already. And now, yeah, let's run it and let's see what happens. So save that, open the chat, and in the chat I will tell it write a newsletter for this week. So it will do already a lot of stuff. It uses the chat model, it uses the content plan, it gets blog posts, and it will do like lots of stuff, which is amazing. So weekly newsletter, February 10th, 2025. Yes, the date is quite funny because like, yeah, okay, why? Today is the 14th. Welcome to this week's edition. This week's featured blog post. Oh my god, it took the image, which is like super exciting. Then the highlights, the importance of adopting AI today, this upcoming content, looking ahead. Our content plan includes an exciting post scheduled for release on February 21st, 2025. That's interesting, actually. It took this from the content plan. That's so funny. So yeah, it's amazing. I mean, actually, you can take this and just post it and send it as a newsletter because, I mean, it does it. This is already better than most people would ever write a newsletter. So to be honest, this is amazing. So this is really cool. Let's see how it actually looks and what it does or what it did. So let's go in here. This is the newsletter. The thing is, this is how is it called? Markdown, but we don't want to use Markdown. We want to use HTML. So let's use HTML. Generate HTML, convert to HTML. Yes. No, convert to HTML. Okay, so yes, test. So here I have, that's interesting. That doesn't really look good. Yeah, but this is, okay, now we could start playing around. This is not what we want. So of course you can take the output and write it somewhere and then just build your newsletter from there because it's basically finished. It's really nice and it's working amazingly well. So this is really cool. So you can do this and use this already for writing your blog posts. But what we want now is we want to have it in a specific format because we cannot use this programmatically because it's going to be different every time. And this is a problem if you want to call it once a week with cron, for example, or within a schedule. It's a real problem if it just does whatever it wants and in the end you cannot predict the output. So what we are going to do is we're going to create an output parser and then give it a system message which says you need to do this and nothing else. So this is what we're going to do now. Oh, smarty. I link in new window. I need this here. Yes, that's my tutorial. Okay, so structured output parser. So what I'm going to do, I will show you how I did this for my case. And of course, you need to play around a little bit in order to do this. So we're going to click here on the plus, the output parser plus, and use the structured output parser. And here, I will just give it an example. This is my example JSON. I want the agent to create each time a JSON like this. It needs to have calendar week, which should be a number. It needs to have the subject, which should be a string. and it needs to have the content, which needs to be HTML, like proper HTML. Okay. So yeah, and in this case, that's something oh my God, that's creating so much headache, because if you work with JSON and HTML or special characters inside HTML, like other quotes, you need to comment them, or you need to escape them, basically. And this, yeah, I mean, AI is going to help you with this, but it took me a lot of time to figure this out. So this is actually something what's working already, because it's escaped HTML, so it works within JSON. So if I would do this, you see this is turning gray, and it's not JSON anymore, it's not valid, and the interpreter doesn't know what to do with it. So, okay, this is my JSON example. So you can pause, write it down, and just use this one. So this is my structured output parser, in order that I know the agent is going to at least consider this as input and give me, in, let's say, 99% of the time, the right output in order to create a newsletter from it programmatically. So this is amazing. And what I need then, very important, is I need to have a proper system prompt or system message. So I will copy the message here and just put it in here. And if I click on expression, I can just open this here. So you see, this is my system message. It's quite long, and I played around with it for like hours, like literally hours, in order to understand how it actually works and so on and so forth. But it tells it, okay, you need to gather the content. You need to curate the content. You need to create the newsletter. In there, you need to create a subject, a content, and then you need to maintain tone and style, and have a certain output format in order to make it usable afterwards. So again, the rules for formatting, how the output format needs to be done. So yeah, this compared with the output parser gave me the best results so far. So if you have something how it works better, please let me know. Please comment and let me know how you are going to use the structured output parser. You can use different other parsers as well. I didn't really use the auto-fixing output parser, but I guess you could just do all this, what I did in here with the auto-fixing output parser, and create this. But for now, this actually works, and I'm super happy with it. So this is what we have now. So let's run it again and let's see what happens. So let's open the chat. I'll just delete this here, reset. Say, okay, write the newsletter. Okay, so now it works again. If we take a look, it's doing its thing. It's getting the content plan, it gets the blog posts, and so on and so forth. And then it's working a little bit more. Hopefully it used the structured output parser. Yeah, it did. And now we have here the agent. And let's see what it said. Ah, that's cool. That's the answer of our agent. So our agent didn't give us the email or the newsletter how it did before, and it didn't give us just an answer for something. It actually gave us the structured output we need in order to make a workflow out of this. So just to tell you, so I can take this output and make my API call to Mautic, and it's gonna build the email. So this is what I want to do. And I tried to use, because you can do HTTP requests in here as tool as well. So you can directly connect it in here and say, okay, do the API call here and build the email. But it messed it up every time. I don't know why. Now I know why, because it didn't get the output parsing instructions properly. I don't know why it wasn't possible to get a consistent output each time in order to use the HTTP request here as a tool, because it would be easier just to say, okay, build this tool and notify me, build a newsletter and notify me, but and then it would just do it here, but it wasn't working. So I don't know why. But that's the reason why I took the route to just create the content here from the agent, and then I'm going to do an HTTP request, which is actually building my email. So here I do a post request. So if you're new to APIs, okay, that's something you really need to wrap your head around, because an API is basically functionality on your piece of software, which you can do over the internet. So you can do an HTTP request or a curl or whatever command from a terminal in order to call your endpoint, which is in the internet. So you can, if you have an API, for example, WordPress has an API, a REST API, what you can use in order to send or do stuff programmatically. So you can program something in order to do it for you instead of you going in there and clicking around. So the API can do this for you within one pre-written piece of software. So this is what an API call is basically doing. So now we create an API call, which is a post request to our endpoint, which is HTTP m.automateThis.pro. That's our mautic. And let's just take a look here. It's easier to write it down from here instead of taking a look here. So /API emails /new. Okay. And yeah, APIs usually, I mean, you have some read APIs, like in WordPress. You can read basically every WordPress website from its API if the owner didn't lock it down. So you can read the published posts, but you cannot read things like users, or you cannot create posts from outside without authentication. So you need authenticate yourself, and therefore you need an API key. So again, if you want to know how to create an API key for Mautic, go here to Mautic, and I think we have an email a tutorial here as well on how to do it. Search the channel, then you'll find it. But you can do something here and just say, okay, Mautic, create new credentials, and then open the docs. And here you find the structurized tutorial on how to do this. They're really good, so I recommend them. Of course, if you want to look on our channel, I'm very happy. But yeah, you don't need to. You can do this here. Yeah, create your credentials. So then you can say here, okay, predefined credential type. And then you find Mautic OAuth 2 API. And here you take the API you want, automate this. And this is basically the authentication. So that's super nice in order to use this. It's super nice to use it here instead of like building an actual authentication script. So this is nice. And then, of course, we need to send a body. And the body is holding all the fields we want to have. You can do this in JSON, but I played around with it and all the escaping. It's super simple to use the fields, because if you use the fields, N8N is taking care of escaping HTML for you, instead of you need to escape and build a correctly formatted JSON in order to have a valid HTTP request. So it's way easier to do it like this. And in Mautic, we need a few parameters like is published in order to tell it, okay, the the email is published, yes or no. There we say false. We don't want it published yet. Then we have the name. And here I would just say, okay, tutorial, calendar week. And here we'll just use this one. So this gives us tutorial calendar week 8. Here we don't want a space. Yes, like this. So this is the output from our agent, from our AI agent here. So we are going to use these structured output thingies in our context, in our content here for the API call. Then we'll have, let's see, subject. Or take this. That's so amazing. I love it, and N8N so much. It's so nice. Then we have the template, because in Mautic we need to give it a template. And email type. It's list because it's a segment email, so we'll send it to a specific segment. And then we'll say lists. And in my case, and here, that's a little bit tricky. I played around with it a little bit. So it expects an array. So in my case, I'll give it an array. So I click here, expression, then these 2 curly braces. And within that, I have this array. So I could say here 2, 3, and 17. These are the IDs of the lists in Mautic, or the segments in Mautic. So if you want to find your segments in Mautic, you can go here and say, okay, here we have one segment, that's a test segment. Then we have, so these are the IDs. So we have 1, 2, and 3 IDs. So my ID number 2 is my test segment. So yeah, I could say 1, 2, 3, then it would be all the lists. But in this case, I'll just say 2. So it will give me 2. That's nice. And then something super weird in Mautic, that's only because Mautic is restructurizing like since 2 years, and it's getting better and better and better, but we still need to give it custom HTML in order to work. So that's something what's a little bit weird in Mautic, but anyways, it works. So because we don't want to push it in HTML. If you use Mautic, you know that you can make MJML newsletters in Mautic, which is way more comfortable and way better than HTML. So this is what we're going to do. But in order to have a valid API call, I need to give it HTML content. So I can just open and close here for my custom HTML. And then I can have my grapes JS builder dot custom MJML. So this is an object, grapes.js builder, and it has the pair custom MJML with its value. So the value is going to be, I'll just copy this here because this is my template. We said we're going to build a template first. So let's do it here. Let's go to emails and click on new. And let's say for the template, we can use a triggered email, and let's say test template. You can use one of these templates if you want. It doesn't really matter. Yeah, let's use how should we do it? Let's use something simple, something like that. So I'll select this and click on the builder. Okay, and now I want to put in my content. That's my my token which I built before for the content. So now I need to clean up this template here because I don't want to use so much stuff here. So of course you can play around with it and make it more complex and less complex. Doesn't matter. So this is going to be our template. And if you want to use placeholders in Mautic, like this unsubscribe text here, I will show you a trick how you can do this. So, okay, that's great. So this is our template. So we can copy this here and use this template. So that's great. Okay, okay. Yeah. Okay, so let's just use it like that. So let's save. This looks like this right now. So our email is going to look like this, but the content here is going to be replaced from the API. So this is amazing. So you can, of course, put in your logos and all this stuff you want to have in order to get the right design. So let's go back here. And in here, we have this value. So let's click on expression because then we can open it here and make it bigger. And here we are going to find, it looks really messy. No, let's do it like this. Looks better. We are going to find this one. So P content, blah, blah, blah. I will delete that and add this one here. So this on the right side, you see what happens here. This is gonna happen inside the email with the content, which is amazing. So that's really nice. So this is going to be our MJML, what we are sending to Mautic. So that's nice. Yes, no, that's fine. You can use the token in here already. That's cool. We don't even need anything. So yeah, that's what happens or what's happened here. So now what we can do is we can test it, make a test step, and we see, okay, that's the output. And this output is coming back from Mautic and it's telling us, yeah, everything worked. That's amazing. So let's take a look here and go back to the emails. And here we see tutorial calendar week 8. This just happened from Mautic. So let's go in here to the builder. And here we see, oh my God, everything is in here. Unlock the future, blah, 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 blah. That's nice. That's really cool. So in this case, of course, we can play around with the template and we can say, okay, actually, I don't want this to be like center aligned. I only want to have it left aligned. So if we want to do this, we can go back here and play around with the template, go in here and say, okay, align left and just change the MJML here. So this would be super simple to do. So we can do this. We can test the step again. Then we have another email. It's going to be ID 77. So in here, I go to the, yeah, and here it's on the left side. So that's amazing. This really worked well. So let's save that, save and close. Now we can have our preview and here we see all the stuff. And this dive into the full article. If I click here, I'm actually on the article inside my blog post. And I didn't do anything for that. Mautic did this. So that's really amazing. Check out our blog here. You find the whole website. Oh, just turn it off. In our latest post. Yes. Contact us. Yes. That's amazing. And we have the unsubscribe link from ai-mautic, which is very important because if you mess up the unsubscribe link, then it doesn't work, and then you get punished by Gmail and co. So this is amazing. Really nice. So this is how you build a newsletter agent. Of course, you can do like I did here in the other thingy. I'll just show it to you. Push to Mautic. After pushing it, I will make another test and fetch the email and take a look. Did the MJML go through? If the MJML did go through, so if I have something in Grapes Builder MJML, if it's not empty, I will send myself a success message with new newsletter available, or an error message with error in newsletter agent. So you can do stuff like this. You can give it more tools and so on. So this is, in my opinion, one of the mightiest things you can ever build and have inside your automation system. Yeah, it's not gonna get easier. This is, if you want to have that and you don't know how to do it, just call us and write an email and we'll build it for you. But this is the future and it's here. It's already happening. I'm so psyched about giving every person this stuff, because it's basically, if you do the agent briefing, if you do this correctly, if you manage to create a briefing, what an agent is actually understanding, and where you can like steer the behavior of your agent, if you understand how to do that, you are not going to, it's going to be so much easier. And you don't, I don't need anybody anymore to write the newsletters. That's just, the agent is doing this. And yeah, we have a few clients, not a lot, but a few clients which we are doing this already. And this is like, that's, they save so much money. It's really like, you don't need an employee for this anymore. So it's so much money you're going to save on lifetime, which is just mind-blowing. I'm mind-blown. So the ROI of something like this is like, it's super, super, super quick, and the benefit is so high. Yeah, that's what I think about it. I'm super psyched. I hope you like it too. I hope you can use it. If you're interested in how to do all this stuff, of course, leave a comment for new ideas, new tutorials. I will take a look, and if I can build it, and then build it and make a tutorial out of it. And yeah, just let me know if you need help. And subscribe to our newsletter, of course, on the website, automatist.pro. Okay, see you next time.